can we get round it by describing people without describing the colour of their skin? Yeah, it's so easy. Oh, the black bloke. Oh, the fat black bloke. And I'm thinking, fat is cool, but why do they have to call me the fat black bloke? You know what I mean? That's nice. And I'm thinking, the strangest thing, I've never called anybody the white man. Never. I always find a way. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice if people can find another way? I've never, ever seen that white geezer. Never. I've never bring myself to do it. And it's the obvious thing to do. And and I can't even remember my mate saying, oh, the white bloke. They always call him by their name, or they even go as far as say, oh, Ginger, or Blondie, yeah, or the bloke with freckles. But I can't remember my friends calling somebody the white bloke. And then all of a sudden, my friends are calling themselves black. And all the rest of it, I think, oh my God, this is the strangest thing. Now, they're fed up of people them calling them the N-word, so they call themselves the N-word first. I don't know if you guys watch YouTube.
Yes.
Snoop calls, you know, Snoop Dogg, the rapper, the old-time rapper, he calls everybody the N-word. Even the president, he calls the N-word and all, and that's a way of protecting themselves. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be a great thing if people don't see colour? It's never going to happen in my lifetime, yes? But now, all the people surrounding me, they know I don't like people calling people by the colour of their skins, by the colour of their skin. And for instance, the kids that look like me, they said, Clarry, he just called me black this, black that. I said, but yeah, you've just been calling yourself black. The black boys are stronger. Just that. I said, if you call yourself that, other people call you that. Why can't you be the boy? You know what I mean? Yeah, or so on. Or if you want to have a differentiation, say Afro-Caribbean then, or call them European or whatever. It's better than calling somebody the colour of their skin and so forth. I'm not sure it's still going to work. Yeah, but I'm pleased that the people around me, they don't really judge. Well, you can't really tell. But the good thing, I never hear it anymore. The white boy, the black boy, this, yeah, the Pakistani, this, that. They don't say it anymore, which is, to me, it's a good thing. And then I go around the houses when people are speaking to me, and I will not say the white person or the black person, and they don't get it. And I say, oh, that girl with the brown hair, and then on the red skirt, and they're thinking, why didn't you just say she's black? But I'm thinking, can I purposely not describe someone by the colour of skin? If I want to encourage people to do it, I've got to be the one not to do it, and so forth. Yeah. Even now, I'm telling you, saying that word, I feel guilty about saying, you know, white person or a black person. I feel, because I try not to say those words, but for the benefit of clarity, yeah, I have to say these words at time, but not really describing people as such. And I think that, who knows, maybe 50, 100 years, because it's incredible. I came here as a kid, yeah, from Jamaica. I was actually born in Jamaica. And the changes has been incredible from what I've seen, yeah. Incredible changes. For instance, my father spoke differently from the way I'd speak at school. The Indian person that came round to sell us things, yeah, like a door-to-door salesman, he spoke differently and all the rest of it. And everybody who didn't look like you, they didn't speak like you. It was the strangest thing. But all the kids in my class, regardless of how they look, they all sound the same. And then I remember when the great Muhammad Ali came to England, it dawned on me, saying, hang on a minute, because he spoke so well. And like I say, I love words. I'm thinking, hang on a second, all Americans saying the same, regardless of the colour of their skin. You know, like northern people,
yeah,
they might have a local accent. It's the same in America. Like if they come from down south, they might have a slight accent, but in general, they all sound the same. And I'm thinking, wouldn't that be a fantastic thing in England? And guess what? Maybe 45, 50 years later, honestly, the majority of people that I come across who don't look like you and I, we all sound the same. It's the most incredible thing. And I thought that would never happen. So I'm thinking to myself, if this can happen now, the way I'm talking to you, right, and everybody I know of my age, we all sound the same. We sound the same as you. But when I was a kid, nobody who were ethnic or sounded the same. They all had a different accent. And guess what? I thought the Jamaican accent was the best. And I loved it. My dad and my uncles and my elder brothers, they have so much fun with their Jamaican accents and the jokes they come in. And guess what? I'll go to school, try my Jamaican accent. Hey, Clow, why are you talking like that for? And I'm thinking, oh, God, I'm out again, just because I want to be me. Can you see what I mean? Because I spoke with a Jamaican accent, but it was not acceptable. And guess what? In schools now, they say it in a different dialect. But all those Jamaican words I wanted to use, they're all saying it now. It's a fun thing. Oh, man, it's wicked. I say, yeah, man, that wicked. Yeah. Why are you talking like that, Clow? And they say, yeah, it's wicked, man. Same words, but said differently. But when I said it in Joy, yeah, man, that wicked. Why are you talking like that, Clow? Come on, tell me. Crystal Palace has really changed in a certain extent. I think it's, again, it's the unfortunate thing where when I started there, right, if you got one kid that came on my course that looked like me, that was acceptable. Now, it's completely the opposite. It's the one kid that looks like you that is the norm now. It's really changed now where in around Selhurst, South Norwood, where Crystal Palace is based, yeah, you get majority of the people there now look like me. But guess what? All the people that look a bit more like you, they've all moved out into the suburbs. They've gone all over, and guess what? They still come back to watch Crystal Palace, which is the most important thing. But saying that the catchment area for the players, yes, it still remains the same. But you're going to see in Crystal Palace, I would not be surprised if things remain the same in the next 5 years or so, the whole of Crystal Palace's academy looks a bit like me. And you know what is important as well? They're hiring coaches, yeah? Because sometimes it's just the culture, how you've been brought up by your parents and their understanding of these children and so forth, which is important. Yeah, and no disrespect, you might be able to do it, but sometimes it's not as easy for you to come in and understand these youngsters immediately who've got Afro-Caribbean parents. It's almost like a different culture. They're ramping and raving and everything, and they're excited and they're loud. And guess what? It's the norm. They're just having a laugh, having some fun, and so forth, while another person like yourself thinking, what's wrong with them? Why are they so loud? Why are they this, that? And all the rest of it. But it's their normal thing. I'm going to give an example. And this is my own grown man, yes? Going to Jamaica. Now my parents retired. Spent 50 years in this country, retired to Jamaica. I goes to visit, yes? So 6 o'clock in the morning, right? You hear a massive argument. I'm thinking somebody's going to kill somebody inside. Yeah? So I'm saying, Dad, what's going on outside? My dad says, rest yourself. They're only having a debate. 6 o'clock in the morning, they're having a chat, but it sounds as if there could be a murder going on. And that's the difference, the culture and all the rest of it. They're not having a quiet word. 6 o'clock in the morning, they're going for it, they're enthusiasm, they're loud and so forth. But they say, rest yourself. They're only having a debate. They're having a chat. You know what I mean? Oh, I think there's a punch-up going outside. Dad, what's happening? And so forth. Yeah. And that's the difference. And a lot of people can't understand why people youngsters look a bit like me, why they're so excitable. Yeah, and after time as well, you're talking to them, they're looking at the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? They're losing eye contact and so forth. And even these youngsters now says, listen, when somebody's talking to you, man, look at their eyes, look at their face, try and remember what colour eyes they've got and all the rest of it. Yeah, and I've never had to say that to a person that looks like you. But all the people, all the youngsters, they're looking all like that. But the thing is, right, there is a massive change at Crystal Palace. And I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years' time, I wouldn't be surprised all the academy looks like me and all the coaches as well. Because what the people in management realise is sometimes you need somebody who looks like you for you to be successful. Yes, I'm just going to give you my own experience as well. I came from the East End. When I was a kid, everybody studying for their 11 plus. You're nothing unless you're at least studying for your 11 plus. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it all changed. They had brilliant swimming pools, schools with their own fantastic facilities. And then when it was my son's time, it all changed. Because guess what? All the people like you moved out. And I recognise, hang on a second, the people like me who's left, we're not getting the treatment also we deserve. Perhaps it's our fault. Because we don't write letters. We don't complain. We don't pick up the phone and say, what's this rubbish doing in the corner of the road? Well, no disrespect, people like you, I've learned, because I've said to myself, I'm not living here anymore. I want to be like I was when I was a kid, where we all mixed. So I found somewhere where we're all mixing. But all these people are diligent. They want their neighbourhood to be nice. They complain. They want to put people in places who are going to do things. While I'm thinking, where I brought up as a kid has changed so rapidly. Yeah? And all of a sudden, people like you don't want to be with us. And to me, it's a sign of racism. But they haven't said anything. Just quietly moved. They all moved to Bromley. They all moved to Shirley. And guess what? I'm thinking to myself, I want the best of my kids. I had the best when I was a kid. Yeah? I live in a really great area. And I'm not boasting now. And I did not even realise I lived in a 6-bedroom house. Yeah? As a kid, I'm living in a 6-bedroom house. I didn't even realise all I wanted to do is live in some flat with a lift. So when my mum's calling me upstairs, so my dinner's ready, I can take the lift down. All the rest of it, the house was massive. And I didn't, as a kid, when I was 14, a boy who looks a bit like you, knocked for me to go football, he says, Clarry, your house is massive. I'm thinking, that's all I've known. My dad bought this house. To be quite frank, I got fed up of it. Because by the time he's decorated the bottom and got to the top, we have to start again. And I spent a long time holding things for him. You hold this, you hold that, when I should be out with the park. You know what I mean? But I grew up in a 6-bedroom house. When on the way home, I had to stop at the library. My dad would be checking my own work and all the rest of it. Yes, I'm doing Latin, I'm doing French, and I'm playing football, I'm playing cricket. I was all action-packed, but I had to get my work. And then all of a sudden it was my kids' turn. All the facilities are gone. We had a lovely reference library. When you go up there, you hear a pin drop, and you're thinking, this is so nice for studying. Everybody's on the same level. Everybody's working hard, concentrating. When's my kids' turn? It's all gone, it's all closed down. So yes, my wife and I are saying, when my son is 7 years old, we're moving. We have to find somewhere better for them. What I realise is that wherever people like you live, you get the best. It's not because you deserve it, but you make it the best. You want to complain, you want such a certain level. Yes, there are people who look like me who want the best, but somehow it doesn't happen quick enough. Yes, all the surroundings and your environment and so forth. Where I live now, the dustman comes and he makes a mistake and he drops a little bit of rubbish in the street. One of my neighbours on the thing, he comes back again and picks it up. That's the difference. Or one of the neighbours will sweep it up themselves. Where before I moved in where I used to live, it would be there for another week until somebody else sweeps it up. Does it make a difference to you? Because the most important factor, no disrespect, because you're a young person, I'm used to it. Would you notice the change if you went to Crystal Palace, for instance, Crystal Palace's team? Yeah, at times only the goalkeeper looks like you. The first team. Do you actually notice it?
So I played for Croydon,
yes,
and I was the minority playing for Croydon. So when I was at Croydon, there was me, Tom Jackson, and Tully. We were the only people that looked like me in the squad. But again, the coach was white, and I wouldn't say it was justified. I'd say I didn't see colour, we just played football.
Yeah.
And the coach was exactly the same. He was fair with white,
everybody,
black, everyone. Yeah. It was just completely acceptable. Yeah. No one really cared.
Yeah.
No one cared.
That's a fantastic thing, because when I think Arsene Wenger did this 15 years ago, when only the goalkeeper, David Seaman, looked like you. And it was the most incredible thing for the Afro-Caribbean people. You seen Arsenal's team? Every woman I know, everything, all of them love the Thierry Henry, Ian Wright, this, that, that. But because there were 10 people that look like them, all of a sudden they're all Arsenal supporters. And I'm thinking to myself, does Crystal Palace now, when sometimes the goalkeeper is the only one that looks like you, do the supporters notice? What do you think? Do you think the supporters notice?
I think if you're a proper supporter, you see who's best for the club.
Yeah.
If you see the colour of a person playing football, I don't think you're a proper football fan. Yeah. I'm a Chelsea fan personally, would not be bothered if my whole team was black, white, or anything else. I think whatever's best for my club, to win games, to play football, not bothered.
I think that's a great thing to say, and I think the majority of people really think that way, because I've had an experience lately. A dad, again, I encouraged him to go with his son. I gave him free tickets to Crystal Palace when I was there, and he said, "Clarry, it's incredible. I've never been to a real football match before, but all the players that look a bit like you, they get a lot of stick from their own supporters." He's going, but he's saying 7 of them look like you, but they're still giving them stick. But when they do well, they're cheering on like anybody's business. But when they make a mistake, they'll call them all the names under the sun. He said, I can't get my head around that. And this guy is talking, he looks a bit like you. And his son, he said, I can't get my head around it. When they do something really well, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. But they make a few mistakes, they're more or less tempted to go home. Not even go home, like go back to West London if you live there. Go back to Africa.
For me as a football coach, one of my biggest concerns is players that give their life to football and have no plan B if nothing works out. Do you know any foundations that can help these people?
Okay. The funny thing is, the FA itself has brought this up now just recently, where there has been a young footballer who's been in the system all their lives. Can you imagine it from, say, age of 6, and then suddenly they get to 21, and they found themselves on the outside without a plan B. Yes, they've not trained for anything else, yeah. The most they can go for maybe being a labourer, so forth, yeah. But I think now that the FA and some organisations are actually looking out for these youngsters that have not quite made the grade, yes, and they're giving them time, so all of a sudden, boom, you're out, and you're on your own. Now, I think there are organisations that they can come to, they can meet up, and even the likes of Glenn Oddle is coaching young players that's always been released to see if they can get other opportunities. And some of them don't realise, there's further down the pyramid, if you like, where you can start, say, in semi-pro football, or even playing for your local team. And if you're good enough, like the likes of the Stuart Pearce, you hear him on Talk Sport and stuff like that, they're all like initially semi-pro footballers. He was an electrician. You don't find that Jamie Vardy, players like that, they all come from like semi-pro level. And I think the FA now are realising that, hang on a minute, we need somewhere for these youngsters to go, especially they haven't got a plan B. Plan A is great, they've dropped out of football, but daddy's still got his own business, they can join daddy's business. 99% haven't got that fallback on. And football, to a certain extent, it goes alongside real life. Can you imagine somebody who's been working in the same job for 50 years, is turning up at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then one day
they just go,
you're retired now.
So
we don't need you anymore. Can you imagine that? 50 years. It's even worse than football. Yes. And then we don't need you anymore. What does he do? And then as a young person, I'm thinking, my God, what do they do? And then 6 months later, guess what? They've passed away before they even get to enjoy their retirement. And it's about time the government did something about this. How about retiring, like, gradually? It's 4 days a week, 3 days a week, 2 days a week. Then you've got used to being at home at times. Footballers, same sort of thing. Let them continue playing, and so forth. Yeah.
Even if the standards are a lot lower, just
even
let them play.
Lower.
Give them a reason to kick a ball.
How about a release league? There's so many kids that have been released. How about having a special league for these lads? They've got something, they're falling down the pyramid, but, I mean, only 11, 15 players can be in a squad. I'll keep saying these youngsters, you have to make allowances in life, because if everybody was the same, you've got 5 million people playing for England. Only 11 start. So that means they picked 11, so everybody can't be the same. But what you do is make allowances in life. So football run alongside life. They should have, in my opinion, have some sort of catchment where all the people have been released. You have a release league. There's thousands of kids being released. What's having a release league? And then they can get people looking, hang on, he's been released, but I tell you what, he's better than what we've got. And give them another opportunity. Who knows? But I do understand your question, but yeah, I think the government's working on that in a minute, because it's been reported some kids have been suicidal. Where they've been in the system 6 years old, 15 years later, they've got nowhere to go. And I'll tell you what as well, I don't know if you guys know this, you most probably know it as a youth coach. I've got to tell you this story one time. I've got to tell you this other story. When my boys, my son's team was 14, they were A team, A League, and we played the B League. The B League was slaughtering everybody, and we had a cup match. Yes, now we had the big cheese in the B League against the top of the A League. This is a real contest now, because this team in the B League is just mashing everybody. They're slaughtering everybody. They're winning every 15-0, 10-0, this, that, and guess what? We beat. It's a cup game, so everybody meets just like the FA Cup. We beat them 18-0. So the top of the A, that's the difference between the top of the B. Some of those kids in the B team was reported, in that team in the B League, they didn't want to go back to school. They could not face their friends, where they've bigged up their team so much, and they've come home and they've been beaten 18-0. And I think it's a great thing now where they don't start league football until a bit later. So all the kids come to school, there's no league. I'm not top of the league. Oh, yeah, we might have lost last week and all the rest of it, but there's no league.
No league.
When my son was 8 years old, we're on the phone. Them days you didn't have nothing like the media stuff. You could have a phone line, or you'll read a Croydon Advertiser. You'll get there early because all the results from the previous week in the Croydon Advertiser, and see who's winning, who's losing. It's such a phenomenal thing. Or you phone up the phone line. I'm saying to my wife, we've got to stop doing this. We've got more important thing to do than on a Sunday evening phoning up the line to find out how the other teams have got on and all the rest of it, yeah? And they say, but the incredible thing is now, I think they've realised that, and they don't start real competitive football till much later, because a lot of kids can't handle it, yeah? And this leads me on to kids who initially get into the academy. My God, the parents just big it up, all out of control. My son's with Chelsea now, is this, is that, is this, that. And then 6 weeks even, he's released. That kid's is a shell of his former self. And guess what? I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be best just to keep quiet? Just tell grandma and granddad maybe, and just get on with your life. Don't tell anybody you're Chelsea or this, that, the other. If they want to find out, they find out. Don't tell the old school, don't tell this, that, the other. And that, just get on with it quietly. Why is there somebody to guide the parents to say, yes, I'm pleased for your son, but if I were you, I'd just go along quietly, because you never know what's going to happen, and could destroy a kid being released from a professional club.
And I've seen as well that a lot of these kids, they end up, because they've been just so distraught, they do end up in the clutches of the gangs.
Yes, and they don't want to play anymore.
They can make money. The gangs
exactly.
The money that they
yes,
could have been
yes,
potentially earning.
yes. As they would say, I don't know if you've heard Dele Alli's interview lately.
We were just talking about that.
8 years old, selling drugs because police wouldn't stop him, and all the rest of it. And these youngsters, who've been released and that, they just fall off. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, their passion's taken away from them and all the rest of it, and they don't know how to get back on that train to enjoy themselves. Not a matter of getting to the top or whatever, but the initial thing of enjoying yourself, enjoying your football, regardless how your team got on. Yeah. So I think that's one of the important things, is that parents as well, they've got to help and think about the child's future. It's great if they made it, but the majority don't. And parents have to think forward of that, not for that moment. Oh yeah, he's in. Oh yeah, Arsenal signed him up. And everybody know in the local community, Arsenal's signed little Terry. You know what I mean? And then 6 weeks later, oh, how's Terry getting on then? Oh, God. Even Terry don't want to go to school.
Well, thank you very much for taking this interview with ClusterView. We really appreciate it, and thank you very much. Yeah,
listen guys, just so you know, it's been a pleasure. And if you need any more information, anything like that, I'll be more than willing to speak to you guys. It's been a real pleasure. All the very best.
Thank you.